Hello, you're watching VNA News Bulletin. I'm Mong from Hanoi, and now the headlines.
Lawmakers cast votes to elect key posts of National Assembly. Cashew nut output falls short of processors' demand. Famous fingerstyle guitarists wow local audiences.
On July 21st, lawmakers cast secret ballots to elect chair and vice chairs of the National Assembly and members of the National Assembly Standing Committee. The outcome of the voting election will be announced on the morning of July 22nd. Earlier the same day, the 14th Legislature approved a list of candidates for the positions of the chair, vice chairs, and members of the National Assembly Standing Committee in the 14th tenure. Accordingly, 97.17% of the lawmakers voted for the list to elect Nguyễn Thị Kim Ngân, chairwoman of the 13th Legislature, as head of the 14th National Assembly. During its first session, the 14th Parliament will also elect the President and Vice President of the state, the Prime Minister, the Chief Justice of the Supreme People's Court, and the State Auditor General. They will also decide on the apparatus of the government, approve the appointment of deputy prime ministers, ministers, and other government members, vice chairs, and members of the National Defense and Security Council. The remaining days will be spent deciding on the country's key issues, including the government's report on socio-economic development and state budget for the first half of this year, solutions to the socio-economic development and state budget for the second half of this year. Other issues include the approval of the 2014 state budget estimate and the resolutions on the program on building laws and ordinances, the National Assembly's supervision program for 2017, and the establishment of specialized inspection groups. Along with climate change, projects in the Mekong River's upstream areas, including hydropower plants, water diverting, and water use works, are likely to pose serious impacts to the Mekong Delta region. This information was released at a workshop hosted by the People and Nature Reconciliation in Hanoi on July 20th.
The Mekong River Basin has a total area of 795,000 square meters, with an annual water flow of 475 billion cubic meters. Countries located on the river upstream, such as Thailand and Cambodia, are building projects to divert water flows from the Mekong River to other tributaries to serve their socio-economic development. Thailand is planning 990 projects in the northeastern region, mainly to pump water from the Mekong River, posing impacts to the socio-economic situation and biological system in the entire basin.
The diversion of water flow from the Mekong River to other rivers serving socio-economic development needs is affecting the water flow to the lower region.
Participants held that water diverting projects are likely to cause serious impacts to Vietnam's Mekong Delta region, especially amidst the current climate change. Together with the accumulation of water at upstream reservoirs, the Mekong Delta region will face a high risk of regular severe drought.
Looming risk is the shortage of water resources, threatening people's demand for fresh water and leading to low-yield crops. People's livelihood will be affected as a result.
Experts emphasized the need for member countries of the Mekong River Commission to cooperate and share information about the river's water resources so as to protect the legitimate interests of each nation.
Since the beginning of this year, the southern province of Dong Nai has attracted $1.34 billion in foreign direct investment, surpassing the annual target by 34%. According to the Provincial Department of Planning and Investment, Dong Nai granted investment licenses to 58 newly registered projects worth $724 million and permitted 44 existing projects to increase capital by $617 million. The projects were funded by investors from 44 countries and territorials, mainly from the Republic of Korea, Taiwan, and Japan. The province has to date boasted 1,613 projects with a total investment of over $29.1 billion, including 1,223 valid projects worth over $24.5 billion, prioritizing high-tech, skilled labor, and environmentally friendly ventures. The Provincial People's Committee attributed the outcomes to the local efforts to improve administrative procedures and hold regular dialogues with businesses to help them overcome difficulties and facilitate their operation. The locality also developed infrastructure at the support industry and high-tech industrial parks to lure foreign investors. The Vietnam Association of Seafood Exporters and Producers has reported that the country's shrimp exports to the U.S. expanded 17.4% to reach $249.3 million in the first 5 months of the year. The figure allowed Vietnam to surpass Ecuador to rank fourth among the 5 largest shrimp exporters to the U.S., providing 12.4% of the country's shrimp imports. Indonesia topped the list of the U.S. biggest shrimp exporters with 22.3% of the market share, followed by India with 20.9% and Thailand 13%. Of the total, Vietnamese shipments, white-legged shrimps accounted for 70%, while giant tiger's prawns made up of 27%. Last year, Vietnamese shrimp exports to the American market stood at $657 million, dropping 38.3% from 2014 due to decreasing export prices, weak demand, and fierce competition from foreign rivals. In 2015, Vietnamese shrimps were sold in 92 markets, down from the figure of 150 in the previous year. Key markets included the US, Japan, the EU, China, and Switzerland. Although Vietnam is now the world's biggest exporter of cashew nuts, its raw cashew nut output meets only 30% of the demand from more than 300 domestic processors. According to the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Vietnam currently has around 300,000 hectares of cashew, with an annual output of 400,000 tons. Raw cashew nut imports accounted for 60 to 70% of the domestic demand. Local processors are expected to import up to 450,000 tons of cashew nuts, worth over $600 million in the remaining months of this year. Due to the dependence of imported materials, domestic processors fail to take the initiative in production as well as in ensuring the quality of their products, thus affecting already signed contracts. Under the plan of the Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, Vietnam will expand its cashew areas by 5,000 hectares by 2020. To ensure the sustainable export, the ministry suggests the processors work more closely with farmers to raise the average cashew nut output to 2 tons per hectare, hence creating a stable material supply. The domestic retail market is seeing merger and acquisition deals between local retailers and foreign partners to increase competitiveness and ensure international integration. However, experts said they still need a specific retail development plan from the state.
The merger and acquisition trend is gaining popularity because foreign retailers provide the benefit of experience in management, operations, expansion and development of a distribution system, thus reducing the pressure of competition. Japanese retailer Aeon has brought 49% of City Mart's shares and 30% of Fifi Mart's shares to expand its share in the local retail market. Meanwhile, Thai businesses hold 2 large retail chains, Big C and Metro, in Vietnam. An official of the Ministry of Industry and Trade said Vietnam is an attractive potential market for large global retailers, noting that opportunities always entail challenges, especially for domestic enterprises that must reform themselves to survive in the market. According to the official, they must accept merger and acquisition since price competition is not the optimal solution. They should focus on improving the quality of their product, their governance, and their reputation. A representative of AEON Vietnam said Vietnam's enterprises must reform themselves, focus on their target customer groups, and change the design of their goods accordingly, and offer better customer care to improve their competitiveness. To develop local retailers and promote local production, the Association of Vietnam's Retailers said local retailers should adopt comprehensive reforms and should especially assemble into groups to create strong business practices to compete with foreign retailers. However, local retailers expect the state to provide more specific and efficient support policies.
A horse-bean tertiary, a rare species listed in the Red Book of Vietnam and the world, was released in the Mekong Delta province of Bạc Liêu. We went along to take a look. The 1.3 kilogram sea tertiary was rescued after a local man was caught red-handed on his way to treat the animal on July 18th. The man said he had bought it from a local fisherman. The horsebill tertiary is one of 5 sea tertiary species that inhabit Vietnam's waters. Like many sea tertiaries, horsebeans are a critically endangered species due mostly to human impact. These graceful sea tertiaries are also threatened by accidental capture in fishing net. The Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora lists the tertiary as in danger of extinction. Therefore, it is illegal to catch or treat the species. Guitar melody lovers have had a unique chance to enjoy the best covers by the world's famous guitarists as the 2016 International Fingerstyle Guitar Festival landed in Hanoi. The Asian tour of the annual International Guitar Festival started in Japan on June 29th. And came to the Republic of Korea, Vietnam, and then Malaysia before wrapping up in Singapore on July 23rd. The festival gathered well-known guitarists from the US, Taiwan, Japan, and the Republic of Korea, and a representative from Vietnam. The 2 Korean female guitarists, Sandra Bae and Erica Cha, were youngest participants in the festival, wowed local audiences with highly polished covers. Following the show in Hanoi, the festival continued with a stopover in Ho Chi Minh City on July 20th. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism has assigned the authority of Northwestern Province of Yên Bái to submit a dossier of the Xòe dance of the Thai ethnic people to UNESCO to seek the title of Tangible Cultural Heritage of Humanity.
The Xòe dance is one of the most popular dances of the Thai group. It holds an important role in the spiritual life and becomes an indispensable cultural activity of Thai ethnic people in northern localities, including Yên Bái, Lai Châu, Sơn La, Điện Biên. The dance originated from local people's need for entertainment after strenuous production activities. Last year, the Xòe dance of Lai Châu, Yên Bái, and Sơn La provinces was recognized as national intangible heritage. Yên Bái is home to 6 folk Xòe dances, which are imbued with the cultural identity of the local Thai ethnic people.
And that has wrapped up our news bulletin. Thanks for watching and see you next time.